Howdy folks, welcome to the channel Rock of the Country. I'm Don. I react to non-pop country music, and we've got Jamie Lynn Wilson's song, Death and Life, and it's a gift request of MontaukEd. So Ed, thank you for this gift and this request. I've done a few of Jamie Lynn's songs, and these are the ones that I've done. I did Jamie Lynn with Wade Bowen, Just Some Things. Now check out these scores that I've given these songs that Jamie's been on, because I told you some of the unheralded artists, if you will. I mean, they may have a nice online following and such, but they have phenomenal artistry and songs. But that song, Just Some Things, was a 9.2. Then I did You Left My Chair. That was a 10. Now this is going back about 6 years. I did Ordinary People. That was a 9.5. I did Roses by the Dozen. That was a 9.5. I also did Death and Life, and that was a 9.5. Very consistent here. Matt Gallardo was the one who was requesting those songs. And now we're back to doing Death and Life, but about 4,000 songs later, I'm doing it again. And I don't mind doing songs twice. It just can't be like within the same month or so. Generally, I like a couple years in between them just so I have a fresh set of ears. So Ed, thank you again. And Jamie Lynn has actually commented on the channel once before. I don't know, about 5 years ago or so. It's very sweet. All right, here we go. Death and Life. And I got it from the site that you wanted it from, the Live on the Texas Music Scene. Reminds me a little of Sheryl Crow.
Hi, I'm Jamie Lynn Wilson, and this is the Texas Music Scene with my friend Jack Ingram.
Jamie Lynn Wilson's 2018 album, Jumping Over Rocks, gets its name from a line in her song called Death and Life. Fortunately for us, Jamie told us that story prior to a band of all-star players performing it live at the Mark in San Marcos, Texas. Enjoy.
It reminds me of Huey Lewis
Death
here.
and Life is a song it's interesting because it was something that I've been working on for years. It's really personal to me. It's about my husband's family, and I was nervous to write this song because it's so big. You name a song Death and Life, and it has to be this huge epic thing, and people think that it's sad, and it's not sad. It's I think it's kind of just more matter of fact of how people move on with life after death, how everybody grieves in a different way, and how the world just kind of keeps moving. And
all right, it wasn't Emerson, I think it was Frost, who said, I could sum up in 3 words everything I've learned about life. It goes on. And I remember reading that. It's so profound because it's so simple, but it is true. Whether you're alive or not, life goes on. Human life, plant life, animal life, aviary life, the biosphere, whatever it is. And one other thing I'll add before we go into this song is that I was recently, I don't know if I was watching a video or listening to a seminar, because I do listen to a lot of seminars, but no, or maybe it was because I was reading a book. I don't think it was Malcolm Gladwell's book. He wouldn't touch on this, but not in this book. But that for folks who think that the universe is oriented around human life, actually the argument or the statement or the position was made that, well, the universe is actually more oriented toward the creation of galaxies, because there are something like 2 trillion galaxies by current estimates out there, which dwarfs the human population on planet Earth. And I thought, well, that kind of puts certain things in a different perspective, whether you agree with that or not. It's still contemplative. But all right, let's see where Jamie goes with her expansiveness.
And yeah, it's about my husband's family, a couple different people in his family, and then him, he's part of it. And then at the end, there's an image that I have of my children after a funeral in our small town, and they're just sitting there playing in the graveyard, looking at all of the stones and asking if we're related to this person, and I recognize this last name, is this Uncle whoever? And in my mind, the image of them playing on a beautiful day in a cemetery like it's no big deal. It kind of makes the whole thing come full circle, and that's why the name of this record is Jumping Over Rocks, and that comes from the last verse in this song. It says all the children in the graveyard, they're just jumping over rocks, like it's no big deal at all. And this song ended up being my favorite song on the record, and I didn't even finish writing it until 2 days in. So I finished it while I was in the studio, and then it has since become one of my favorite songs on the record. So
she sounds like a sweetheart.
Got her legs crossed at her ankles and her purse down by her feet. She takes a look around and wonders how this came to be. The boy that's there beside her, spitting image of the man who carried all the weight and built this house with his 2 hands. In 40 some odd years she never had to sleep alone. It's been 3 years in November, she still ain't bought a stone. Said I used to be a lover, but I still feel like a wife. That's the way that it goes in the game of death and life.
That's a good observation.
Father always tries to treat a boy just like a man, and he saw his had a way to work through life with his 2 hands. He knew that he was dying, but before his days were done, after he said all his goodbyes, he asked one more thing of his son. Well, his old man died in April, and he went to build a box. Every nail and every board was a tear that never dropped. Then he had a baby boy born on the same day as his dad. So he took his name to give him. It's the best thing that he had. Souls, they move in circles as the generations pass, and the old ones hold the young as though the time will never last. And the dusk leads to the dawn, and as the darkness brings us light, that's the way that it goes in the game of death and life.
The tempo of the lyricism also matches the content of the theme of the rapidity of life and the cycle of it.
All the children at the graveyard, they're just jumping over rocks. They're reading all the names on all the cemetery plots, soaking up the sun and wondering how it feels to die. That's the way that it goes in the game of death and life. Souls, they move in circles as the generations pass, and the young ones hold the old like it's the only thing they have. The dusk leads to the dawn, and as the darkness brings us light, that's the way that it goes in the game of death and life. That's the way that it goes in the game
That
of
was
death
good.
and life. That's the way.
It's reversing the order of cliche. Is she gonna smile at the end here or no? Oh, I wish they came up close to see at the end of that song. Some people have a gift of language that exceeds others, and in certain directions anyway. Jamie Lynn's powers of observation, or at least the focus of her observations, is very human. It's very nuanced. It's detailed, just about the crossing of the legs or jumping over rocks. there's a big difference between, say, academic writing and personal writing, as we know, or memoir, or whatever. I mean, you pick your genres, whether it's songwriting, whether it's article writing, whether it's book writing, what have you, poetry. Certainly the poets, to me, have the greatest gift of language and ability, because they're so concise, and the creativity involved to get a point across, to make it flavorful and make it say what you want it to say, but also leave it open-ended so that people could superimpose their own lives onto it or into it, and sort of relate to it, is otherworldly to me. And Jamie Lynn has a gift of seeing detail, personal detail, and that in songwriting is brilliant, because you could bring yourself into it. You can see it on a different, you get the imagery, so you're there. And then the content, as far as what the song means, the intention of the song is also there. But because you're drawn into it, you're more likely to contemplate what it is she's saying. But you really do have to think about it, because it is, as she said, she didn't use the word expansive, but it's a big concept. When you come up with a song with the title Death and Life, you don't have to go deep with it. I mean, Jerry Reed could have done a funny song with that title. Like Amos Moses, that was about death and life. The guy used his own son for alligator bait. That could be a death and life type of song. But in this one, it was more, gosh, the word that's coming to mind is like permanent, because it involves children's lack of awareness of what death is. But there does come a point where you're like, wait a minute, for children, generally, the first death they experience is a pet or a grandparent. And then you're like, well, the introduction of that concept of no more motion, no more breath, they're not there anymore. What does this mean? And then they become teenagers and in their 20s and 30s, and they get exposed to it more. But in this one, they were jumping over rocks. They're playing. And I remember when I was younger, I didn't know. I had no idea. And that's the way life works, But I do like the reversal. Death and life, most people, as far as cliche goes, or just common expressions, colloquialisms, life and death. Life and death. That's how we say it, in that order. There's life and death. But she said death and life. And I say, yeah, there's a death. I think in the song, what did she say? Did she explain it, or was it in the song? I think she explained the origin or the impetus for the song. Was that, no, it was also in the song. Someone died, but then the kid's son was born on that same day. So it was death and life. There was a death, but there was also a life brought into the world at that. That's the cycle. But she also said dusk giving way to the dawn, or something like that in the song. I like that. You take, a 12-hour snippet, dusk till dawn, give that about 12 hours, maybe it's only 8, but then the expansiveness of life. There's death and there's life, but who can explain it? I contemplate it, having been a philosophy major in college. I loved it. I still do. I still process life. I write books about it, and I react to songs based upon that view. So this sort of feeds me. Ed, you know what, Ed? You knew that. You knew this. And I don't know if the first reaction I did included Jamie Lynn's explanation of the song, but I do like how she revealed a bit more of the songwriting process, because as she said, she finished it in the studio like 2 days before she was going to record it, something to that effect. Yeah. Like I've got, 250 songs in various stages, just lyrics in various stages of development. And some are tearjerkers and some are funny and whatever. But I keep working. I'll go in and I'll just go to a random page and oh, there's a song. I'm going to work on that one. But you keep working on it. But some of them are prevalent in your mind. And I've got 2 or 3 that are really impactful in my mind. And so I go back and I work on them, not randomly, but purposely. And that's the process here. A song like this, you're like, what do I leave out? What do I put in? What do I leave out? What do I put in? And you go back and forth, back and forth. The creative brain is working. You wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my God, that is so good. And you better write it down because you'll forget it by the time you wake up. I know that's happened to me. I'm like, oh God, that's brilliant. I will remember that when I get up. And then I wake up and I'm like, what was I thinking? What was that? I did that word play or whatever. And it doesn't come to me. So I make sure that I either write it down or I speak it into my phone. And Jamie Lynn seems to be just very pleasant. I know every human being has their moments, and I know anybody on camera can, put on a good face for a little while and then they could go back to whatever. But I mean, she just seems to have a genuineness about her and a certain sweetness. So at least that's what comes across. All right, Ed, I'm going to rate this one. And I love the bass line in this. To me, it was unpredictable. It was steady, but unpredictable. It did not take over the song, but it was there. It was almost like a delayed heartbeat. So the number that popped into my head on this was a 9.6. And immediately I'm just in my mind, the image I have in my mind is Jamie's explanation of the song. I like the song. I like the delivery. I like how she sang it. I like that it meant so much to her because she has images in her head when she's singing it too. But I like the explanation in the beginning of how it came to be because I'm a word nerd and a life nerd. All right, guys, you can thank MontaukEd for that one. Have a great day. I'll see you on another video and keep rocking the country.
There's an image that I have of my children after a funeral in our small town, and they're just sitting there playing in the graveyard, looking at all of the stones and asking if we're related to this person, and I recognize this last name, is this Uncle whoever?